show, 5-Star Fam. I'm AJ, and this is Michael. And wherever it is you get your pods, subscribe, share, and leave us a good rating. Welcome to another episode of 5-Stripe Weekly. Yes, there was some episode stuff last week in the form of a match preview and, of course, our live streams. But we are back with an episode of 5-Stripe Weekly this week. Lots to talk about in terms of transfers and, of course, us crashing out of Leagues Cup. Very, very bitter stuff there. Of course, our first match was against Lionel Messi and Inter Miami, the newly re-energized Inter Miami. And we fell into a buzzsaw there in Fort Lauderdale. That was not fun whatsoever. 4-0 loss there, and Lionel Messi, there was that was a creaming. That was a 2 goals, and also Robert Taylor. He also did a number on us. Both players had braces, and we played scared. We played like a team that had their eyes in the headlights, because, it is. He is in the limelight. I mean, Santiago Sosa forgot to mark his man. You had a number of players play really below their means, and this was a really bad match. We're not going to go too in depth. We went pretty in depth in the live streams post match, so you can check those out. But
please check those out, guys. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun, even when we we get smacked up 4-0. It's still free therapy for you, so you can definitely check those out for that. But and then our Cruz Azul match at the Benz. Usually it's a fortress for us. It's not that. This past weekend, it was rough, a bit rough in the sense that ultimately we fall in penalties. But we play pretty well. We play pretty well in this match, but ultimately Cruz Azul, they kind of gut punch us. We are able to do what we are able to do at home, which is do enough to get it into like a saving face type of territory. But in penalties, it's just that's the roughest way to go. Absolutely. And
if I ever have to see Barry take a penalty again, I don't know what I'll do.
I know exactly. And luckily I don't think that's probably possible for the rest of this year, unless we make MLS Cup and it goes to penalties. But that's Who knows? But there are some moves that were made to maybe get us there. We'll find out. Obviously, we'll talk about all the moves, as there were many. But Brooks Lennon, Tristan Muyumba, Miguel Berry, Thiago Almada, Yorgos Yakumakis, and Juanjo Purata all took penalties. And of course, Berry and Purata were the ones that missed. And Cruz Azul were able
Why is Purata taking penalties?
Yeah, it's perplexing. There are a lot more attackers, but it's one of those things where maybe he's still one of the more senior players. I would hope that they saw something in the penalty kick training that they did midweek to be able to say, okay, with confidence, Purata should be one of the ones taking it early, as he was the 6th one, but still, oi. It was heartbreaking, and at the Benz, to suffer that kind of loss in penalties, we've experienced it before, unfortunately, against the Columbus Crew, of course, in 2017. So we are familiar with this type of heartbreak. But
getting shushed. I had him, John.
Yeah, exactly. We got shushed then. we didn't get shushed this time, but it was a little bit more of a natural shush of just the hush of the crowd as they just sauntered out. And inside the stadium, very much you heard a very loud Azul fan base where they were in unison screaming out Azul, Azul. And then as well, when you're leaving the stadium, Azul, Azul. It just didn't feel like a home game at all.
They followed AJ back home to his apartment while he's trying to sleep. Azul, Azul.
Azul, exactly. No, I mean, they didn't actually do that, obviously, but I felt like I heard it in my dreams and my nightmares, obviously. But, oh my gosh. It's just one of these games that you want to quickly forget. Even though we played like decently well, it's, numbers were all in our favor. The hard part is obviously going out in yet another tournament in 2023. And so, the Cruz Azul head coach, he was on the hot seat. If he didn't make it out of the tournament in this round, he probably would have been let go. Gonzalo Pineda was not given that really type of ultimatum. And I think you see the lack of urgency a little bit. Maybe you see the team able to come back, but it ultimately is just not something that you kind of felt like was a priority. And it is what it is. One more draw that becomes a 5-4 loss in penalties. But Brad Guzan didn't really cover himself in glory either. With there was one penalty that was just right at him, and he just couldn't do anything about it. It was like right to his right, and his reactions are that of a player that is his age, and it's tough. It's tough to swallow all of this, but. So, we also talked about it in the live stream post-match. So you can check out all of that in that stream. It was maybe not as fun in some regards, but you get to see some of the forfeits that definitely happened from us, and when we possibly, you'll have to watch it, but took some red asses. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should be watching our post-match live streams anyway. So, but anyway, that is the Leagues Cup. We crash out. Lionel Messi and Inter Miami are playing tonight. We're recording this on a Wednesday for full transparency, and they're playing Orlando City, and I am rooting for Inter Miami. Let's be real.
I hope Miami beats the Disney kitties.
Yeah, there is no reality in which I will be rooting for Orlando City. So it is interesting. Hopefully they go through, because it makes us look a little bit better too. You know what I mean? Like that's definitely that's definitely the route to I think to go about all that as well. But Leagues Cup, we crash out.
Currently winning 2-1.
Okay, there it is. So. We're getting live updates on this 5 Stripe Weekly, but so it is an unfortunate Leagues Cup foray for us, and we have a 3-week break in which we made a ton of transfers on the transfer deadline day, and we have all the time in the world to bring in international slots and visas for these players and get them all trained up. So that, at least, I guess, is the caveat, is the plus, the positives. And who are those players? Let's talk about them. So, first up, the first player that came in this window, notwithstanding of Tristan Muyumba, of course, in which we talked about him in previous episodes. But Jamal Thiare, he is a Senegalese striker, free agent. And he came from, previously anyway, a Ligue Utd side, but they won their league and was able to get into Ligue 1. But Le Havre, that side, he is now also with us with an international slot, and will require a visa as well. But yeah, Carlos Bocanegra, he mentioned his profile in terms of Thiare is one that translates well to this league, quote, and will complement the group of players that we'll have for the final stretch of the season. He's a veteran striker who has a proven goal scorer throughout his career, and we're looking forward to having him bolster our attack. He's a 30-year-old forward, and yeah, he basically has played in Belgium and the French league, and it's basically, yeah, the numbers aren't impressive, but yeah, he's coming in as a backup striker, and I would,
yeah, let's talk about that natural goal scoring statistics.
yeah, and so there is that. I think we probably see him usurping Miguel Berry as the backup striker and being Gigi's understudy. But yeah, he had his breakout season, quote unquote, in 2017 and 18 when he won the Golden Boot in the Championnat National League with 14 goals in 29 matches played. And yeah, that earned him a move up to Le Havre in Ligue 2. But yeah, the Senegalese forward, he's made 29 appearances across all competitions, scoring 9 goals and adding 3 assists in his first season with Le Havre. And then he established himself as a starter the following season, scoring 8 goals in 20 Ligue 2 starts. And this past season, Thiare, he contributed 4 goals and 5 assists, helping Le Havre with the Ligue 2 title that won them promotion back into Ligue 1. So, yeah, in the 5 seasons, he totaled 31 goals and 18 assists in 129 appearances across all competitions. So it's not a bad return. It's just not super inspiring. But as a backup striker, it's much better than what Miguel Berry has given us. Let's be real. But yes,
as a backup striker,
yeah,
he somehow managed 8 yellow cards last season. So that's interesting.
That's concerning. Yeah, discipline, obviously not a strong suit. Also, staying with clubs, also not a strong suit. He's been a free transfer for about 4 clubs that he's been at. No transfer fee has been recorded through his time at those clubs. So, yeah, I guess, no team has wanted to keep him for really that long. I mean, Le Havre, the longest, of course. So we hope that...
all time.
Right. So, but we hope that, with that discipline issue, it's not actually as well an off-field discipline issue either. But, at the very least, he can play across all 3 of the 4 positions. So yeah, there is some depth there in that sense, and yeah, hopefully he can contribute some of those goals. He's a 6-foot tall forward, so yeah, at least in this league, pretty decent height to be able to hopefully also win some headers. But yeah, do you have any other things on Thiare before we move on to our next new signing?
Not much. I just thought that because I was trying to find statistics that I thought no one else would be able to or was able to see, and the yellow card one really stuck out to me. So I was like, I'm gonna mention that one because oh man,
yeah,
that's so weird.
That's so weird.
Yeah, so Gigi and Thiare will basically...
He comes on the field pissed. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, and it's that striker. Not if you don't score, you're pissed. Maybe it's that. Maybe you miss a sitter or something like that, and then you go back and you foul one of the center backs or something. Who knows? But between Gigi and Thiare, I think there will be a lot of yellow cards from the striker position, and unfortunately, hopefully not. we might be seeing Miguel Berry. So
Don't even say it.
yeah. So hopefully we can really quell these discipline issues from both of our strikers in the near future. But anyway, next up, this player wasn't really rumored until the day before he signed, but Xande Silva, a forward winger, kind of combination type of forward, is the newest five stripe as well. He's a Portuguese player from the French side Gijon FCO, and he's on loan for the remainder of the 2023 season with an option to purchase. He will also occupy an international slot and require a visa. But Boca said, "We're excited to welcome Xande to the club, and we look forward to him providing an impact over the final stretch of the season. He's a versatile attacker who will provide more competition on the wing and has the ability to play anywhere across the front three. And he's a 26-year-old. He's made 172 career professional appearances. He's recorded 25 goals and 9 assists. Not a fantastic return there, but hoping he's more in the provider route. But yeah, he spent a lot of time in the kind of European leagues there. He's also not only been part of the team, at least in the squad for West Ham, but yeah, never really played. But he also, he was playing for the U21s at West Ham there. And then he also got some time at Nottingham Forest, where he recorded an assist in 10 appearances. But yeah, he moved to Dijon in the French second division, where he made 32 league appearances and he had 6 goals and 3 assists. So, not a fantastic return, but it is pretty decent for a winger. But it's still not, we're not expecting a world beater here. We're expecting, just some veteran depth, someone that's, going to be able to bring some pace, some creativity, a little bit of physicality as well, as he looks somewhat of a unit, a little bit at 5'10", and at least for a winger, pretty large. But a guy that I think looking at his player profile, it's someone that I think offers something a little bit different from kind of the more diminutive, kind of pacey winger that we have currently. And so that experience will be really, really key. Of course, that does not include Machop Chol, who, no one would ever call diminutive, but yeah,
he's lanky.
Sure. Yeah, he is
he's
lanky.
Like thin and lanky, but he's not, stocky and bulky, but he's got some muscle on him.
Exactly. And so, Michael, if you have any kind of tidbits on him that you'd like to add.
Yeah, for Xande, we have one interesting fact about him. It's kind of a combination of facts that build into one kind of narrative. That his 96 matches played spread out over 5 leagues and around 8 years. He has 59 shots in his entire professional career, and 19 of them are on target for a 28.8% hit rate. So that's just interesting to know. The guy, even though he's been a professional soccer player for like 8 or so years, in terms of like his registered shots, he's only had like 59. And of that, 19 were on goal across 5 leagues over 8 years. That's a startling list of statistics to me.
Yes. Yeah. Startling, troublesome. Screams out a player that maybe isn't the most confident in front of goal and isn't going to be shooting a lot. But I guess, you have this. You had Luis Araújo, who was very shot happy. So I guess he's the antithesis a little bit in that regard. and hopefully he can bring a little bit more creativity than Luis Araujo was able to bring. But yeah, we're definitely shopping in the in Ligue 2, where previously, of course, Araujo, he came from Ligue 1, and man, I don't know, like. You said this on Twitter, and I think it's very illuminating. Is that we hopefully this foray into this French division goes a lot better than Ligue 1, because it is. Ligue 1 was not exactly the best return, bang for buck, I would say, and. Hopefully Xande Silva will be able to, be, along with Thiare, one of the players that can help us get into the playoffs, stay in the playoffs, maybe get a playoff win. So, but definitely a very interesting kind of move in the sense that, with that option to buy, maybe we're looking at a player that's maybe it's that underappreciated kind of Jose Martinez type of territory. Not to say that he's going to be as good, but just saying underappreciated. But so moving on, we have the very hard to say, and we'll say it, but Saba Lobjanidze. He's a Georgian winger. He comes in as a designated player. I guess prevailing theory is that he will be a player that would be bought down with allocation money. So we will find out if that is the case. But it seems like the team doesn't want to be tied down possibly to a high-priced designated player. But he is a player that was targeted early on in the transfer window, and Carlos Bocanegra mentioned that Saba is a player we have been speaking with since early in the transfer window, and he continued to show his commitment and desire to come to Atlanta throughout the process. Saba brings international quality and experience, having played in World Cup and UEFA Euro qualifying, in addition to top leagues in Europe. We look forward to integrating him into the team as quickly as possible. So he comes from Turkish Super League side Hatayspor, and he will be signed through the 2026 season. He's 28 years old, born in Tbilisi, Georgia, and that's not this Georgia, obviously. That's the European Georgia, the country. He's not a player that really lit up the score sheet. He has 288 total appearances, 69 goals, and 57 assists across all club competitions. It's not a terrible return. I would say that's probably about, I don't know. My quick math is bad, so I'm not even going to try. But it's in the, I think, probably the 0.2, 0.3 goal contributions a game, probably. Something like that, in terms of at least for goals. But he came through his hometown club Dinamo Tbilisi, and in terms of throughout his career, he's played with a number of European clubs that are very difficult to say. We could try them. Why not? Let's give it a crack. But he signed for Hatayspor in the summer of 2021 after coming from Ankara Gücü, and that's where he suffered relegation. Turkish fans, have at us, but and Georgian fans also have at us.
At least we're trying.
Exactly.
At least we're trying.
Exactly. But so what was really interesting was this last season at Hatayspor. He made 21 appearances in league play before an earthquake unfortunately forced the club to withdraw from the competition. And so, it probably, maybe has a part in all of this. I'm pontificating 100% on this, but I would imagine he's a player that's maybe was ultimately sacrificed as, when you don't have money coming in from the competition, you probably have to get rid of some players because you can't afford their contracts anymore. And so it is, maybe our benefit to that regard. But, ultimately, he's a player that is coming in as a designated player and has some people worried in that regard because is he going to be good enough to really, I think, warrant that? We'll find out. But, yes, Michael, do you have any fun tidbits?
I think
Yeah,
I think this guy's going to be like in the vein of like a Moreno type of signing, in that it's like a bit of a stopgap. It's a DP, but like as Doug Robertson likes to say, that's an accounting term MLS likes to use. It's very flexible in the way that MLS uses it and teams use it. And in this case, I think it's going to be similar to what they do with Moreno, which is, get them in on a DP and then buy them down the next season. And then they are just, high TAM or something like that. And then that frees up another DP spot. And then this guy kind of just fits in with the rest of the team without taking up any of those big DP spots. And then we'll see what we get because, and this kind of goes into kind of theorizing about next season. We may not, we have some of these guys on like a possibility of being bought. We have some guys that are being bought down, perhaps in the future. It seems like the club's being very conservative and safe in terms of their signings at this moment. Yes, they need signings. Yes, they have to try and make a push for the playoffs. They have to remain a competitive team. I mean, their fans want that and demand that. So they're at least trying to do that. However, I think that they're holding back. And I think they're doing that strategically. Could be one of several reasons. The two most interesting reasons could be one or both. That we might be getting a new coach. A new coach would probably like to have a hand in picking their largest, biggest players. Second possibility is that MLS could be having some roster regulation changes come up next season. We don't want to have our hands tied with big contracts if we can then go kind of crazy next season with signings. So I think those two things, these signings have their eyes on that. That's just two theories. I don't know if either one is true or going to happen, but they're possibilities. So perhaps that gives a reason why they're being conservative. And, they had and it was interesting that they had such a quote unquote quiet window until it wasn't. They kept a lot of this close to their chest too, which, we've done it in the past with kind of at least the last round of signings, but usually the club likes to tease it. Rumors want to get out, but they were pretty good at keeping them quiet this time. So it'll be interesting going forward to see how they do the signings and who comes in. And I expect some really big things in the offseason and next season.
Which hopefully is the case, but whether it's actually going to happen or not, we'll see. Apparently, according to some Seattle Sounders fans, in terms of Garth Lagerwey, the offseason, in terms of winter transfer windows, isn't usually the most busy, apparently, at least with Lagerwey. So that's interesting, definitely. Of course, if the rules loosen up because of Lionel Messi, then okay, yeah, there might be definitely some things in the future coming up that would affect it, and you would imagine the team would try to take advantage of any sort of roster, I guess, loosening up of the structure of MLS. But apparently Lagerwey in the past, he's usually shopped in the summer window, to really take advantage of those players.
Isn't that the best window to shop in too?
Agreed, I think, because you tend to overpay in the winter windows, because obviously a lot of teams are playing around then. MLS usually is not, but and that becomes a thing where prying a player away from their club in the middle of a season, often not the easiest thing to do. So it is something that we'll keep an eye on, obviously, and see how the winter transfer window goes. But as of right now, we made 4 moves in the summer transfer window. And yeah, Muyumba.
As of today, it's closed.
Yeah, and as of today, it's closed. But Muyumba, Thiare, Silva, and Lobjanidze. It's definitely a very interesting bunch. You have midfielders, wingers, and forwards, but no defense, which is fascinating when we are the, if not the leakiest team, maybe second leakiest in the league. And I mean, on paper, our guys seemingly should be fine, right? But it's that Muyumba seems to be a little bit more kind of a box-to-box, but possibly could play that number 6 as well. We'll find out. But Santiago Sosa maybe, and Muyumba are maybe the double pivot moving forward anyway. So at least up until the playoffs begin, or if maybe a Johnny Fortune, if he is able to make a name for himself and stake a claim, we will find out. But definitely that is the team now. We I mean I don't know, like I guess the question for you, Michael, is does this move the needle for us to get us into the playoffs?
That's a tough question. I think it was already in dire straits in that we may not make it, because our schedule is going to be pretty hellish going forward. I mean, it depends. Like, if these guys can hit the ground running, and if they can, they get all their visa stuff taken care of, and they get enough time to train, get up to speed, build some chemistry with the team. I mean, they could probably do something. Because it's not that hard to make into the playoffs this year. So you would hope that they could do it. Are they going to get a number 4 seed with like an at-home playoff match? Absolutely not. It's just not going to happen. I don't know where Garth came up with that. I don't know why they put that flag down there, because that was just incredibly optimistic. But I mean, you have like Lobjanidze on the left wing, Giakoumakis is the striker, Silva on right wing, Muyumba is the 6, Almada is the 10. Pick your poison with Sejic, Sosa, Hosetu as the 8 or something like that. And it's crazy we have Parata still as the left center back. Like, it would have been interesting to get another defensive man in there for rotation purposes. Noah Cobb I don't think is there yet. We have Robinson, who's reliable. He's not had the best year, but he's reliable. We still have Lennon and Wiley. Those are solid pieces on the left or the right and left, respectively. And I would be interested in give Diop more chances in goal. Maybe Westberg, maybe not Westberg, but Guzan just looks shaky sometimes. Yeah, he's got the leadership, but he just looks a little shaky sometimes. And also, I forgot to mention Alonso. I want to see more of Alonso. I mean, I know, they go up a little bit with Muyumba, but like Alonso looked good when he comes out as a finisher. So I mean, that team that I just mentioned could, I think, do a number if the chemistry is there, if their legs are under them, and they're all playing with some renewed vigor that perhaps they get from a 3-week break. I would think it'd probably be the other way, and that they'd feel depressed because they don't get to play, they don't get to really do their job, the thing that they do, and they are there because they played poorly. I mean, poorly against Miami, of course, not as poorly against La Máquina, but like, just wasn't good enough. So, yeah,
I hopefully it's motivation.
Just not that much.
Right. Yeah. And hopefully that 3-week break will serve as also a preseason for some of these players that are coming in as well. So yeah, no, it's some great points. On paper, there is seemingly some balance, some dynamism. So it could be really interesting to see how they all gel together, because I think you see some players that are set up for Thiago Almada and Yorgos Giakoumakis up top there. to see how they can play together and just utilize the best strengths of each player. Now, for me to answer that question, I don't think it really does move the needle. I don't know if I believe in these players. We'll find out. I hope the best for these players, and I hope they do perform and all that. But as long as Carlos Bocanegra is still the technical director, I think we've seen just fool me once, right? Fool me twice. All that. As the saying goes, I'm not being fooled again. And until we are proven otherwise with a better than 50% hit rate, I just cannot get excited. Especially seeing these reels, these highlight reels as well, where,
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to call them highlight reels, they're, yeah, leave a little to be desired there. And so, hopefully it's they just come in and are able to show why they were underappreciated, undervalued, and, but it's not like we're prizing away, someone that was overperforming or was killing their league or any of that. Like, these are not players that are just, they don't have to be well-known players, but if they're at least players that were performing well in their league, and
I'll just add that none of these players, when they were announced, made anyone in MLS turn their head and go, "Oh crap!"
Yeah,
they're just not that kind of player.
Right.
So with that in regard, honestly, I would doubt. Besides a lot of really, people who are super into MLS and they do their own scouting report, that kind of stuff. Unless you're that kind of guy, I don't think you're gonna know who these players are.
Right.
And so no one's really craning their neck to go "Oh crap, Atlanta just signed them." No one's really saying that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no one's really saying
to see that player
Lobjanidze.
come through the door.
No one's really, honestly, no one can pronounce Lobjanidze. So I'm even questionably pronouncing it, where I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But hopefully Lobjanidze, yeah. But someone that was obviously turned some heads, Diogo Rossi from Fenerbahce, who was linked to us pretty much all window, at least according to a lot of Turkish sites. Doug Roberson of the AJC vehemently denied that we were in for him. That turned out to be true, but it seemed like it was born out of, in terms of the confusion anyway, the Turkish outlets thinking that because of the discovery rights that possibly Atlanta United held, that there was apparently maybe, according to MLS Multiplex, a $200,000 GAM that went to us from Columbus Crew, who ultimately picked him up. But Rossi definitely is a player that in MLS is exciting. He joins a really renewed Columbus Crew side, who of course lost Lucas Zelarayan, former MLS MVP. Zelarayan, and also
you can pronounce the guy from Georgia that just came here, but you can't pronounce the guy who's been lighting up the league for several years.
Yeah, he's not our player, so I don't care. But and he's not in our league anymore, so I don't care.
Columbus from absolutely, who is it? They did a demolishing job against the Liga MX team the other night, 4-1 or something. It was just ridiculous.
But yeah, Darlington Nagbe, of course, is there. Julian Gressel just joined from Vancouver Whitecaps. They're building something there. And Wilfred Nancy is a really, really good coach in this league. It's annoying because they're in our division and they just got a really good player in Diogo Rossi. And I think if you polled a lot of Atlanta United fans, they would have preferred Diogo Rossi. So it's one of these things where that's the relevance. That's the
So what would
that's
it
the
take?
connection
What would it
between-
take for you? Would it take like a Mbappe signing, like next window,
No.
to like blow you away? To be like, okay, this was all worth it. Like all of the conservatism was worth it.
No, I mean,
or is something else?
yeah, not a Mbappe signing. I mean, obviously that I'm taking you literally there, but in terms of I want these players to hit, like they can be underappreciated players, they could be undervalued guys, in the vein of like Jose Martinez, in the vein of like Tito Villalba, that type of stuff. I'm good for. Like I don't mind that. I know what league we're in, but the problem is that we haven't been hitting on a number of our players. I mean, and Yorgos Giacomakis is probably the best player this year that, of course, we signed, but he's a DP. You should hit on your DPs. Thiago Mata, of course, past 2 years. Yeah, you should also hit on your young DP. That is absolutely what needs to happen. But it's the 4 through 11, it's the 12 through 18 players that obviously have not been cutting the mustard, and that's been the problem. And we need to see more of a hit rate on those for us to really, I think, get back that trust into the front office.
Well, maybe Xande Silva will cut the mustard for you since he's from Dijon.
From Dijon, yes. By the way, that
I'll see myself out.
yeah, no, yeah, but no. On that, the tweet and the kind of Darren Eales-esque tease that came out before then, the Dijon mustard on the Chick-fil-A sandwich. You're crazy, guys. It's gross. It's not the move. It's not the move.
Nope.
But anyway, it's either Polynesian sauce or buffalo sauce, guys. Let's just be real. But
What's wrong
anyway.
with Chick-fil-A special sauce?
Or the special sauce, yeah, exactly. But not the Dijon, not the mustard. But anyway, so last bit of news, pretty much, is that Atlanta United 2. They were playing this past weekend and will be playing this week as well. But they lost 2-0 to Columbus Crew on Friday night. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just Atlanta United 2. They're not having a banner year either, but yeah.
I thought they were doing all right, and then all of a sudden it's just lost. So.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, yes, we have a player there that is doing gangbusters, but yeah, we also can't bring him up. So it's one of these things. Like, welcome to MLS.
When does he get sold? Like, what does he have to do?
I know, right? Like, I mean, next season probably will probably include him in the squad, I would imagine. But yep, Nick Firmino, yeah, he's a guy that's a lot of fans want to be able to see, kind of what he can do for the first team. But we'll just have to wait. We will just have to wait. But yeah, so that is the news and pretty much the entire episode except for the question of the day. So the question of the day for you guys is, which of these players do you think will hit for us the best anyway?
And bonus question, comment down below with your favorite Chick-fil-A sauce.
Indeed. So yeah, find out what your favorite hate chicken sauce is. But what's yours? What's yours, Michael?
Probably the Chick-fil-A special sauce. Yeah.
Okay.
Put that shit on anything.
That's a different slogan for
I know.
yeah. Isn't that Frank's?
I don't remember. I just remember it's like a grandma who says it, right?
I think so. Yeah. But anyway, that's the episode there and there. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. For Michael, I'm AJ. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.